Hello, friends. Welcome to my car on this Friday. Winter is in full effect in Montreal as we sail into the weekend, you guys, getting deeper into November, and the start of the World Cup is now. You got to sleep tonight. You got to sleep on Saturday, and then Sunday, we've got Qatar and Ecuador. Yeah, let's start with the World Cup screw job right off the hop because news broke this morning. If you're unaware of this, Qatar, yes, the nation of Qatar is proudly hosting the 2022 FIFA World Cup that starts on Sunday. Canada is a participant. Yes, truthfully, Canada for the second time ever is in the World Cup. Their tournament starts on Wednesday when they take on Belgium. But yeah, of course, Qatar. We're talking about a nation with very strict laws, zero tolerance for alcohol consumption. So in the months and days and weeks leading up to the start of the World Cup, the nation of Qatar and its government had basically come out and say, listen, we understand the world likes to consume alcohol. They like to consume alcohol when they watch football. As a result, we're going to kind of scale back. We are going to dial back the enforcement of no alcohol policies. They're going to have designated areas where they can drink. They're going to have designated areas where people can consume this type of alcohol. And those were the kind of promises they had set up in the early goings, right? Well, news broke this morning, 2 days before the start of the World Cup. Yeah, no booze for anybody throughout the duration of the World Cup. Confirmed, by the way, by the owners of this tournament, FIFA. Congratulations, everybody. And all the while, I'm watching the Netflix doc on the scandal surrounding FIFA, and Joseph Sepp Blatter, is sitting in a chair laughing at all of us. No, he's not. No. He's not in shackles. He's not in handcuffs. He's not wearing prison garb. No. He's there wearing a suit and tie with a Patek Philippe wristwatch on, laughing at the grand heist that FIFA has pulled off. But here we are. And how do you feel if you're Budweiser? Budweiser dropped upwards of $100 million to be the title sponsor for beer at the World Cup. And now the government of Qatar has said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, FIFA? What are you going to do about this? You're going to take the World Cup out? Who are you going to call? Neighboring nations and ask them if they have the capabilities of hosting a World Cup tournament in 2 days? No. This was planned. This was premeditated. Just goes to show you how full of shit this entire governing body of FIFA is, how criminal it is that these people are not behind bars. They're not in shackles. They're not in prison garb. And to rub it in your face, they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you. Guess what? I'm going to be watching on Sunday. Guess what? I can't wait for Wednesday when Canada takes on Belgium. It's all about sports, man. Keep the politics to yourself because I am out of it. You guys see the latest involving the Montreal Canadiens, who were 6-4 losers in Columbus. For the fourth time this season, the Montreal Canadiens are on a 2-game winning streak. For them, the longest winning streak the Canadiens have been on in the early blushes of the season is 3. So 2 is where it is at now. They got Philadelphia at the Bell Center tomorrow. The Flyers lost in Boston last night. The Bruins have won 5 in a row, and the Bruins are 10-0 on home ice in the early blushes. So the Montreal Canadiens will be looking to right the ship. And does that mean a trade is on the horizon? Have you seen the latest that came from TSN and TSN.ca involving Mike Johnson and the possibilities that maybe the Montreal Canadiens could hook up with San Jose for the services of 32-year-old defenseman Erik Karlsson, who's making over $11 million a year, with the possibility of Canadiens forward Brendan Gallagher going the other way. I mean, on the surface, a couple of things that don't immediately make sense to me. Number one is Erik Karlsson. He's 32 years old. He had a great night last night. Erik Karlsson put up a 4-point night, and his San Jose Sharks lost the game. But I digress. Erik Karlsson is 32 years old. Erik Karlsson has a full no-move contract. Full no-move. Erik Karlsson has to sign off on any deal whatsoever. If San Jose wants to send this guy to Timbuktu, if they had an NHL franchise, you're not allowed. You can't trade Erik Karlsson to the Tampa Bay Lightning if they had the cap space. You can't trade Erik Karlsson to Anaheim if they had the cap space. You can't look at Erik Karlsson cross-eyed in San Jose without violating contract stipulations. So right off the hop, confusion number one. Confusion number two. Why in the hell would the Montreal Canadiens go out and trade for Erik Karlsson? Okay, you're going to tell me, Sean, Erik Karlsson alongside Caden Gooley, Erik Karlsson helping bring along Arbor Jacki or Jordan Harris. Yes, that makes sense. Erik Karlsson puts the Montreal Canadiens back into contention. What is going on here? We had Jacques Martin on the morning show today, the former Canadiens coach. If you missed it, it's at tsn690.ca. Jacques Martin believes, his opinion, the Montreal Canadiens will fight for a playoff spot. I still believe the Montreal Canadiens will not be fighting for a playoff spot. And if they're going to go out and acquire Erik Karlsson and give up Brendan Gallagher to get him, I think that changes the equation here. And I have a hard time sitting here telling you that I think Ken Hughes, by design, wants to do that. I don't see that happening. And it was funny, right? Because, further from that interview with Jacques Martin, I asked him the question, Montreal at the beginning of this week was in a wild card spot. They were 2 points out of catching the Rangers for the first wild card spot in the conference. So what if Ken Hughes, who wants to rebuild this team into consistent competitiveness, says, what the hell, you guys are overachieving. I can't believe what I'm watching here. Is there a chance Ken Hughes could disagree with that strategy and say, you know what, I'm going to start making moves here? And Jacques Martin's answer, he started laughing as I was finishing the question, because back in the day with the Quebec Nordiques, that's exactly what they did during the Eric Lindros draft, was that Quebec was competing. Quebec was doing better than anybody thought. And the management decided, the hell with this. We're going all in for Big 88. We're going all in for Big E. And they traded away 4 key veterans from the Quebec Nordiques in order to facilitate the tank. And remember, at the time, during those days in the NHL, there wasn't a lottery. If you finished dead last, man, you were done. You got the number 1 pick. So all of that's changed. And as a direct result, part of me wonders, what does Ken Hughes think when he watches this team and watches its competitive balance? And so it's a very fascinating area. And, further to what I think is a preposterous trade rumor involving the Montreal Canadiens and San Jose, Erik Karlsson, Brendan Gallagher. I mean, San Jose is going to have to eat salary, $2.5–3 million worth of salary in order to make this more financially digestible. And so there's multiple layers to this hypothetical trade that doesn't make any sense to me. On the other side of the trade market involves Canadiens forward Josh Anderson, who no doubt was really inspired to go back to Columbus and make his former team pay a price. He was very good last night, scored a goal. Canadiens looked a little bit more threatening with a little bit more secondary depth, right? Cole Caulfield didn't get on the score sheet last night, but Nick Suzuki did. Nick Suzuki has 11 goals and 10 assists and 21 points. He's on pace for a 101-point season. So you saw a better performance from Evgeny Dadonov in Columbus last night. Mike Hoffman continues to click. The line with Gallagher and Mike Hoffman, I think, has shown chemistry in back-to-back games. So there's definitely something to build on there when it comes to the possibilities of finding the pursuit of secondary scoring and making the Canadiens a tougher team to match up against. And you know what? I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. And maybe you're starting to see telltale signs. I didn't like the goaltending last night. I didn't think the goaltending was particularly good. So the Montembro Nation could take a step back and stop the argument for the time being that this guy's a number 1 goaltender and should be playing 55 to 60 games a season. That's not happening. So as a direct result, I think you're starting to see a few more mistakes. I think you're starting to see Jordan Harris fight the puck a little bit. You're starting to see the Canadiens get a little sloppy. The Columbus Blue Jackets had 4 breakaways. Not in the duration of the game, in the first period. And this is a result. You saw this against New Jersey. Fast teams are giving the Montreal Canadiens a hard time. The Canadiens were chasing the puck. The Canadiens were fighting the puck because New Jersey did it to them earlier this week. Columbus and the Speed did it to them again yesterday. So you're starting to see some weak spots in Martin St. Louis' lineup, which leads me to believe I think a lineup change is coming. Arbor Xhekaj, I was wrong. I was wrong in that my belief is he should have been the first guy sent to Laval when Mike Matheson comes back. Maybe Matheson is back tomorrow against Philadelphia. He didn't get the medical clearance last night when we thought he would, but he didn't. And I thought maybe Arbor Xhekaj, another guy, fights the puck, gives it away, takes minor penalties more than anybody in hockey right now. But where I was wrong was in undervaluing Arbor Xhekaj's strengths. And nobody does what Arbor Xhekaj does. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's not even 20 games deep into his NHL career, and he's already in the heads of some of the opposition. Guys skating away from him. Guys don't want anything to do with him. And then they're going to watch the highlights of Arbor Xhekaj dumping a Columbus Blue Jacket player into the bench in the first period last night when the BJs had a 1-0 lead. Chris Weidman is the odd man out. When Mike Matheson comes back, I think Chris Weidman is the odd man out. I like Jordan Harris. I know he fights the puck. I know he gives some giveaways. Didn't look his best, but he did score his first NHL goal last night in the 6-4 loss on the road in Columbus. But to my earlier point about not contending, you're not contending. I don't think this team is going to contend. I think the mistakes are going to compound. I think they're going to be more frequent, and I think we're going to see more losses in regulation, and that's okay. I'm not cheering for them. I think that's what's coming. And I want Jordan Harris here. I want him a part of it, just like Juraj Slafkovsky. I like Juraj Slafkovsky. I like his game. So he's not scoring, but I see improvement. My eyes tell my brain that this guy is getting better and getting more used to the NHL style and the NHL lifestyle. So with that in mind, some veterans can move. Chris, why he can move, man. I'm all good with that. So that's kind of where we are as the Montreal Canadiens got outscored 4-2 in the game's third period as they lost for the second straight game. Columbus, you wonder how they're eighth place in the Metro Division. They've won 3 games in a row on home ice, and we're very fast. We're all over the Montreal Canadiens, and they're riddled with injuries. So, no excuses, man. Go out there, play your best, and Columbus got the best of it. So, some highlights, I thought, some silver lining takes from the Canadiens' loss. Not only was Evgeny Dodonov better, Brendan Gallagher is more engaged, Mike Hoffman is more engaged, and, you look at the way the secondary scoring lacked, and I think you're starting to see Martin St. Louis address some of those areas of need, and that's good coaching, man. Martin St. Louis is a hell of a coach. I like the way he speaks. I like the way he addresses the team, and there's zero doubt in my mind anyway, that he's got this team fully bought in, and every message that he's delivering to his team is being heard with both ears. So some of the silver linings for me in the aftermath of the Montreal Canadiens losing on the road in Columbus. They're back home on Saturday as they take on the visiting Philadelphia Flyers. Mathieu, good morning, Mathieu. Make this make sense. I tried, Matt. I tried, buddy. It doesn't make sense, but you got some people putting stuff out there. There is a salary cap in hockey. There's a salary cap. We just can't, in the words of Mark Bergevin, it's not PlayStation here. We just can't make trades for the sake of making trades. There are numbers that are involved. Does San Jose want to eat between 2 and 3 million of Erik Karlsson's salary? Do they want Brendan Gallagher? Do they want to take on his $6.5 million cap hit for the foreseeable future? Do they want that on the organization, on the books? I mean, there's a lot of aspects of this hypothetical trade that, for me, make no sense whatsoever. So we're just going to stop there. More from Matthew. Martin St. Louis is the best development coach for this young team. Any player not part of the long haul is dispensable. Keep the kids with Martin St. Louis. Well said, Mathieu. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in and for commenting on our video today. But everything this guy says, and one of the interesting observations I've made about Martin St. Louis, now that we have a larger sample size to work from with this Canadiens coach, is I hope he doesn't lose what I think is one of his best assets. He doesn't sound like a coach. He doesn't spit cliche after cliche after cliche after cliche. After a loss, he doesn't talk about, we're going to look at ourselves in the mirror as a team, and we're going to put our pants on one leg at a time together as a team, and we're going to get through this as a team. Like, spare me the garbage mumbo jumbo. Martin St. Louis digs in, man. He talks about Brendan Gallagher and what he wants from him. He talks about Nick Suzuki and his role and how he can expand on it. He talks about watching from the press box, watching pros be pros, what you can learn from that. And you don't have to watch a player that is your style. You can watch a Connor McDavid as an Arbor Jack guy, perhaps, and there are takeaways there. What does he do? What can you do? Is there something from that game that you can adapt, right? And it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing for me as a guy in the media to hear this. I can't imagine how refreshing it is for a player inside this organization that was here last year and is still here this year, and the difference that player is hearing from one coach, from one administration to this administration and this coach. It is night and day. It's not even the same sport. It's so different. And that, to me, is Martin St. Louis' greatest strength. Going with his relatability is his communication, is how he talks to players, how he helps makes player understand the message that he's trying to get across. And I hope he doesn't lose that. I really, really appreciate his honesty, his perspective. He sounds very, very grounded to me. And the other part of this, and I guess it's a shot at the previous organization. Did y'all ever get the sense that they always gave the impression that they were smarter than you, that you didn't know anything? Keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, just trust the process. Stop asking stupid questions because you don't know. There was, for me, an element of obnoxiousness. There was an element of stuffiness of, you don't know what you're talking about. Stay in your lane. Keep your nose out my business because I know and you don't. So every now and again, I got that impression. And I understand, you're in the world of professional sports. It's filled with alpha males and it's filled with a cutthroat business and all that stuff, which is, I guess, true to a certain extent. But it doesn't mean you got to be a bleep hole. It doesn't mean you have to thumb your nose at the media and look down at the media or the fan base because they ask questions in a certain way or second guess some of the decisions you made either as a coach, a player, or as a general manager. And I see a complete 180 from that, which leads me to believe that, people inside the hierarchy of the Montreal Canadiens organization maybe saw the same thing I did. And it's why they have different personalities running this organization, in Jeff Gorton and Ken Hughes and Martin St. Louis, and down the list we go. So that's where we're at ahead of another Canadiens game day tomorrow against Philadelphia. As I mentioned already, the Flyers, big losers in Boston, where everybody loses in Boston. Nobody goes to Boston and wins. The Bruins are 10-0 on home ice, and they've won 5 straight. Marc-Antoine, comment ça va, Marc? Comment ça va aujourd'hui, mon gars? They're rebuilding. They are also better than what they were last year. 1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, it's laughable that Dominic Ducharme is being critical of the way Martin St. Louis has coached this team up in certain regards to lineup changes, how he goes after certain teams. Like, at this point, I mean, Dominic Ducharme, if you're going to, take pot shots at Martin St. Louis, how you don't get laughed off any television set you're on. Your colleagues are more professional than I am, because it is night and day, my friend. Dominic Ducharme to me was a guy who was making moves to protect his job. Martin St. Louis is like, I'm just going to make moves because I think I know what's going on. I'm a modern NHL player, and I know how to get the most out of these guys. And so far, it's undeniable. The Montreal Canadiens are a completely different team. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying that. If I'm saying that, you're not watching the games, right? Because if you watched last year, if you managed to get through that marathon session of garbage, you got to be jumping for joy watching this team and watching the future prospects. So it's a very fascinating time. It's a very fascinating time to be in this market, to watch this team, and to see where they go next, because I truly am. I'm going to use the word fascinated. I'm fascinated by, not so much because I've said this before, the players and the coaches, they want to go 82-0. They want to go and win every single time they hit the ice. What does Ken Hughes want? Does Ken Hughes want that draft pick? Does Ken Hughes want inside top 10? Or does Ken Hughes want to see this team overachieve together and learn from this experience, and wherever they end up at the end of 82 games is where they end up? I don't know. What do you want? What do you want? You're Ken Hughes. I'm giving you the title of general manager of the Montreal Canadiens in this exact spot they're in. What are you going to do, guys? You going to make a move? If your team in December, January is still sniffing a wild card spot, realistically, like 2-3 points out of a wild card spot, what do you want to see the Canadiens do? You want to see them make moves to contend? Or do you want to see them let it go, maybe move a veteran, maybe a Sean Monahan, maybe a Josh Anderson, maybe a Joel Edmondson, maybe a David Savard, maybe any one of those guys, in order to get more picks so you can draft more prospects, and maybe lose more games in regulation so you can be inside the top 8 of the draft this summer? I don't know. What would you do? What would you do? Because there's a strong argument on both sides, a very strong argument on both sides. Do you believe that Nick Suzuki is your 1C, Kirby Dach is your 2C, and you're good to go? Or do you believe that Kirby Dach won't be a 2C, that he's better to stay on the wing with Caulfield and Suzuki and go draft that number 2, that bona fide number 2 center, so you can round out your organization, right? That's one side of the ledger. The other side of the ledger is, Look what this team has done. The organization threw down the gauntlet. The media threw down the gauntlet. The fan base threw down the gauntlet. You guys suck. You guys are going to finish last again, or you're going to fight with Arizona for 32nd in the NHL standings again. This week, they started 2 points out of the first place wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference, tied for the second wildcard spot. That's where they started this week. So if you throw down the challenge and the media and most of the fans say you guys suck or are going nowhere, and the Canadiens roster is fueled by that publicity, how do you not let those guys roll with that challenge? How? They are professional athletes, hardwired to win, hardwired to be competitive. You got to take that away from these guys. What's the sell message there? What would you guys do in this exact moment in time? We're already talking about trades. We're already talking about, hypotheticals, Anderson, hypotheticals, Gallagher for Erik Karlsson. Those rumors, speculation, it's out there. Hit me up in the comments. Let's talk about this. You're Ken Hughes. What are you doing? I know what you're doing right now. You're watching In the Car with Star. I know what you're going to be doing later. LittleBearOnline.com is the website you go to for all your pets' needs. By the way, they're also hiring. So if you're looking for a little extra pocket change ahead of the holiday schedule and you've got some disposable hours, maybe 20 to 30 hours, and you have availability on the weekend, Little Bear is hiring. They're a families-owned and operated company. You know, we all love to talk about support local during the pandemic. Let's keep that going, please. Support local. Shop online at littlebearonline.com, and I'll even save you some money. You see the message scrolling on the bottom of your screen. In the Car 10 is our promo code. Please use that at checkout. Chuck Altman and his wonderful staff at Little Bear on St. Catherine in Westmount care about your pets as much as you do. So go put them to the test. I wouldn't send you to a place I wouldn't go for my own dog when I had one. And we went to Little Bear. We shop online at littlebearonline.com, and they deliver too. So in this weather, this crappy weather, it's snowing, it's 0 degrees, it's getting colder by the day. You don't have to go outside. LittleBearOnline.com, promo code InTheCar10, boom, save you money, and they'll deliver to your house. Go check them out, proud sponsors of In the Car with Star, just like K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur is my favorite gas station, premium fuel at discount prices. Highway 138 in Ganawage. So if you're in the surrounding areas of downtown Montreal, Lachine, Chateauguay, Candiac, La Prairie, you name it. If you're around that area, let's roll, baby, at K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur. Premium fuel at discount prices. Another locally owned and operated by a family in the town of Ganawage, where they support their own, and you can go fuel up and get the best snacks in the snack game, my friend. As I've told you repeatedly, we're ready for the weekend where we're going to dig in. We've got Grey Cup to watch. We've got NFL Sunday to watch. We have the Habs to watch. We've got NBA regular season. The World Cup starts on Sunday, and we need to fuel our bodies with snacks, and we get them at K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur, Highway 138 in Ganawage. Proud sponsors since day one of In the Car with Star. And by the way, I'm going to tell you another thing here. It's what's the date today? 18th of November? I don't have my winter tires on. I will remedy that. I'm going to Ash Gregoire Chambly Nissan, 4299 on Route 440 West in Laval. And here's what I want you to do. If you're like me and you don't have your tires on yet, this is what I need from you. I need you to go find a price for winter tires, because you're going to go need to buy some if your old ones are too worn to use this winter. Go shop around, get a price, bring it to Ash Gregoire Chambly Nissan. They will match the price if it isn't already cheaper over there. And if you find cheaper tires than what they have, they'll match the price and then do the installation for free. You see, I don't partner with bum partners. I partner with people that benefit you. You're my favorite people. I want to hook you up. Little Bear Online, K-Stop Gas Bar, Ash Gregoire Chambly Nissan. These are friends of mine. They're friends of ours, you guys. Friends of ours. Together, we benefit. That's why we do this. More comments coming in. Mathieu, if I'm Ken Hughes, I already had a talk to the leadership core before the beginning of the season. We're putting the building blocks to be contenders. We will be selling at the deadline. It's one thing, I think that's well explained, Mathieu. Merci beaucoup. It's one thing for us to sit here and have this chat about what might be at trade deadline this summer. But we're in the reality. Let's stay present. Present tells us the Montreal Canadiens are sniffing around a playoff spot. Maybe a different conversation from the one you had in July or August. I don't know. Marc Comtois, what up, Mark? They have to sell at the deadline. How many contracts are in their last year? Merci, Marc. So there you go. So a couple of quick reactions from the listenership in regards to what the question I threw at you is, if you're Ken Hughes right now, we've got trade rumors swirling, Anderson, Gallagher, Erik Karlsson, Calgary, Edmonton, all these teams, these players. You're Ken Hughes. What do you do? Do you stick to the plan? If your plan was, we are sellers, we are trying to build to the draft, when the present situation tells you the Montreal Canadiens are sniffing around a playoff spot. What a spot to be in, man. Like we've already talked, we're not hardwired to lose. You and I, we are not hardwired to lose. That's not who we are as sports fans together. The players want to win. Martin St. Louis wants to win. 82-0, baby, that's the goal. Stanley Cup, that's the goal. But how does Ken Hughes get his team to that stated goal of winning a Stanley Cup? Through the draft, or throwing challenges at the feet of your athletes and watching them overcome and excel? What a time. What a time. Habs and Flyers on Saturday night, you guys. Looking forward to that one. Don't forget, we're going to be live on Sunday morning. Sunday morning. Sunday morning, I'll be here. Jerry Brossard, my boy, should be here with us too. We're going to have some NFL best bets coming your way for NFL Sunday, so stay tuned to the channel for that. In the Car with Star. Tell your friends, subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. Look at this here. We've been going for 26 and a half minutes. Do you believe I have talked continuously for 26 minutes? And okay, we've got a good number of people watching us on YouTube and all that stuff. I wish I had like a social media manager, you know? Even though I'm young. I'm 44 years old. I feel young. I sound young. My mental state is young. Yes, I'm young. But when it comes to sometimes things on the internet, social media, growth, engagement, I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. Like I did a morning show on Wednesday with a 22-year-old young man, Peter Vrionis. Guy's sharp, has opinions. I enjoyed working with him. You know, one of the things in radio, please have something to say. Young Peter had something to say, and we were talking about YouTube, right? He has like a Blue Jays channel. If I had it, I would plug it here. I don't know. But he's got a Blue Jays channel. And he does Blue Jay videos all the time. And he has like 2,200 subscribers. He's monetized his YouTube channel. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this because I like doing it. I like talking to you, and it's fun. And like, I don't consider talking sports work, even though it is work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like doing this. I'm having fun doing this. So the goal wasn't like to monetize this and like, ooh, get rich off YouTube. No, it wasn't the goal. But like, I have an ego like everybody else. And so this young buck who does Blue Jay Rumors on YouTube has like 10 times the subscribers I do. I'm like, how did you do it? I'm not jealous. I'm fascinated. Like, what's the secret sauce, brother? How do you do this? And like, I've been in radio for 20 years, you know, like, and he's got like 10 times the subs that I do. And it's awesome. I'm happy for him, you know, but like, I feel old. Like, I don't know how to grow channels. I don't know what to say. Like, he's telling, oh, you got to put headlines. You got to put things in bold, and you got to go on Photoshop, and you got to do this and do that and put thumbnails. I'm like, holy cow. Thumbnails, Photoshop, huh? I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So I don't know. Is there anybody out there that can help me, or I don't know how to use Photoshop, man. You see what I'm saying? That's why I feel old. But to thank you for watching. We had some good numbers today live. You know, I didn't tell anybody I was doing this. I just jumped on. So thanks for watching, I do appreciate it. I really do. I mean it. I appreciate it. Have yourselves a great weekend. Don't forget, I'll be back here with Jerry on Sunday morning. I'll give you some advance notice, so get your pen, get your paper, get your popcorn from K-Stop Gas Bar, and get ready, because NFL Week 11 is here, and so is In the Car with Star. Peace.